to office, you know. But it all came down, when I made my own decision, it came down really to service.
We've been listening our platform during the campaign.
Yes, I'm just being the devil's advocate.
We would have been,
you
we would be saying that in addition to the new Basia High School, all of our high schools and schools in general would be renovated, and there would be much improvement in terms of additions where they can be done. Because I am one who believes that we need to have academic labs in all of our schools, especially for those students who are struggling, whether it's in maths, in language, or whatever. They should have that area in the school where they can go, whether being self-tutored in terms of the programs that will be on the computers, and make sure that they get themselves up to the level that they ought to be. So all of the schools would be renovated and improved with special features based on the needs of the school.
Well, that's wonderful. So, okay, we're coming along. I know we have to move along. I can sit here and ask you a lot of questions because I'm sure people have a lot of questions.
And actually, it has been a while both of us haven't sat and had a conversation.
It's actually quite true.
Have been the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right, you've been making the rounds. What have you been finding from in your district, in your constituency? What has been the turnout like? How do you feel about your confidence level at this point?
The turnout has been good in my humble view, from what I've seen at the different stations. We are optimistic that the people will vote to continue the building of a stronger, safer future for all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I believe that we have been tried, we have been tested as an administration, and we have been true to the people. So too, all politics are local. In constituency number 1, the people know me and I know them. That's our mantra, you know me and I know you. I have done well from all accounts from the people, and I believe based on that performance, as one of my good friends would always say, one good term deserves another one. So I look forward to going back into office with the team units administration and to continue the national transformation efforts and to continue our infrastructure development, especially in times like these when we have this COVID pandemic which is still lurking around. That pandemic has challenged our social, our economic and our political stability. So we need the kind of leadership that we have now on board in the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, and his team of cabinet members. And we hope we will increase those numbers and continue, as I said, building a stronger, safer future.
And when and where did you cast your vote?
I casted my vote just next door here at the police training complex. There's the evidence here, and I'm happy that I did, because it's always a good thing to vote for your own self. It's a selfish thing to do, and I did that, and I'm happy that I others as well, I'll have the opportunity, as we put it, exercise our franchise.
Great. Fantastic. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Haven't said had a conversation in a long time.
To feel the connection.
Yes, because I work with you so many times. I worked with you when you were a director of youth, and so I'm just familiar with you through that. In fact, now you're looking a little more buff than I remember you being. Like you've been on the trail, really working out there for your people. So I say every time I see you, like, look at Jeffrey. It's like he's a stronger, fiercer, like Jeffrey. He's out there fighting for his constituency.
I'm doing what I have to do now.
I see you doing what you have to do, Jeffrey. So I'm here with constituency number 1 candidate, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. Let the people know why they should vote for you, Jeffrey.
I am with the constituents of East Bastia, and I am an honest and trustworthy young man, a man of God, one who is hardworking and innovative, one who you'll be able to have a conversation with, one who would give you that listening ear with whatever challenges you might be facing. And I'm looking forward, Naima, to serving all of the people of constituency number 1.
We are saying that we're going to create what we call a business incubator, such that if you have a wonderful idea, you'll be able to tap into this incubator that will provide capital for you and training for you, such that you're not thrown out in the deep ocean, but you're guided along a path to success. And that is the vision that we have for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in particular, the people of my constituency, so that I can see people empowered throughout my constituency.
One of the things that I have been doing year after year is a back to school program where I'm providing children with the basic things that they need for school, such as backpacks and books and pencils and sharpeners and rulers, the simple things that we take for granted. But then there are a lot of families that actually can't afford to provide these for their children. And so having that opportunity to be able to give them something, to give them a start, to ensure that every child who goes to school has the same starting point, that's something that has been dear to me and something that I found.
here at one of the polling stations in Connery, right next to the Golden Rock Commercial Park, and quite a few people. There are several, probably about 200 persons here at the moment, waiting to cast their vote. I had a talk with some of the party agents who have indicated that the polls have gone fairly smoothly so far. And again, that has been the story that we have covered since this morning. There was one indication, however, that the lines were moving a bit slow because there was simply not enough polling booths. There was only one polling booth, from what I understand. But apart from that, people are fairly patient. They're waiting in line. There's no arguments, and so things are running fairly well. So we're going to move on a little further into the constituency and see what we can find. Then back, let's get Newsline.
Over the years, I've always been extra happy and pleased to be able to do it. And then part of that is just offering that simple thing, haircuts for the boys or braiding for the girls. And then you realize how many families, it's these things we take for granted all the time, but these are things that so many can't afford to do. And having that opportunity to do that, it frees up their money a little bit more so they can be able to offer or provide something else that's even more important to their children and their families.
When I look at what I have been able to accomplish in Sandy Point, I don't know if I can indicate that one accomplishment is perhaps more outstanding than a next. I have had several major accomplishments in Sandy Point, and these accomplishments are important to different persons. For the child attending the primary school, for example, who has been able to benefit from upgrades at the primary school, that would be a major accomplishment to that individual. For the police officers who will soon be the beneficiaries of a brand new police station, that of course would be a significant accomplishment for those police officers.
There is an old man in Sandy Point who gave all his life, not just for Sandy Point, not just for constituency number 5, but for the entire Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. This man, he had two fires. His first wooden house, it was burnt down. He moved to another wooden house, and it was burnt down again. And presently, that old man is still living in that same burnt down house.
Wow.
That in itself is one of the most moving thing, as I said before, for me, to go doing my canvas, go with my care packages. And at one point in time when I was searching for him, I asked for him and somebody told me he was living there. I told them, no, he can't be living there. This is one of the most touching thing for me, to see that someone who has spent all his life in the cane fields, working hard for our people, bringing our country to where it is at this present moment, and to see that he is treated like that by our people, that is very, very touching to me. And some of these are things that is pushing me. As I said before, I serve my community, my country all my life.
One would have to make sure that there is no discontinuance of the transition plan that the party would have had when we were in government 5 years ago. The transition to new leadership was in fact interrupted by none other than the present former Prime Minister Harris.
Yes.
And we would want to make sure that transition plans are properly in place. They also would have been given the opportunity to bring to an end a number of the very many projects that we started. I was speaking about the development of Kittishan Hill, the experience of twinning Kittishan Hill and the hotels and the hotel services with the community improvements that you would see. These are very critical aspects of the new thrust that I would want to get into to ensure that there is a successful transitioning from sugar agriculture to the new services economy, especially one that is now going to be impacted by COVID-19.
I realized that in order to really push, to help, to get the resources and the force to help people and to help the community, you have to be really involved, because people don't take you lightly if you're not really involved in getting it done. And I like to get things done. So the better way for me is to be involved and to help agitate and to make sure that I could see and get things done for the community. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. And the performance of the farmer leader and the way his conduct, demeanor, mannerism, and the way he performs and treats the constituents, it's 60% of that already done for me. So, and the way now these young people are changing and they are thinking, they are now making informed decisions for themselves.
It is a very important matter, and that is the issue with regards to the increase in the minimum wage. I went to Boston and they told me that the minimum wage was $312.50 per week. And I was told, for the anniversary of our independence, we needed to increase the minimum wage. And I set to work. I called all the stakeholders together. And we had our meetings. And we were able to sit down. We were able to discuss. And we arrived at a brand new minimum wage in this country. And that minimum wage is across the board. Everybody who works in this country has been impacted by that minimum wage increase. So, when you talk about bread and butter matters, the NRP has been in the vanguard of ensuring that we improve the terms and conditions of work, and we also ensure decent pay for decent work.
But I'll say to you, from a positive standpoint, I will do even one thing more than Patrice have done over the last 20 years. Your investment in me, I am one of those stocks that is going to be a dividends over the next 5 years, because I am ready for the task. I'm ready to transform lives in Nevis 11. I'm ready to transform lives in the island of Nevis. I'm ready to work with you, sit with you, and take your issues seriously and make sure that I can take care of them to the point where I can bring results to you.
We feel privileged and honored as a team that God has ordained us to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis for such a time like this. And when our time would be ended, 5 years and 90 days after the first sitting of our second term, several of us will gladly move from the stage. with thankfulness in our heart for the opportunity to have served the people of St. Kitts and Nevis so well and so exceptionally well. Yes, many will say, I believe and Glory, you may help me. Was it in the book of Nehemiah or some other book?
We're here at the Keon Primary School. It's a little after 1 p.m. on voting day, and there are approximately slightly over 200 persons who are here in the corridors waiting to take their turn at the polling booth. From what I understand is that the crowds were much larger in the morning, but it's expected that the crowds will increase in the afternoon. I haven't seen any of the candidates here at this particular booth at this particular time, but I understand they have been going to and fro to the various polling stations here in Keon and in the nearby constituencies. We are going to continue moving through the island and see what is happening. We'll be talking to people and find out what is their concerns, if they have any. But right now, things are moving pretty smoothly, and there's nothing really that are basically making persons very concerned about any of the processes. There is still one situation in which apparently some persons feel that there could be a little bit more communications in terms of directions as to what to do, where to go, that kind of thing. But outside of that, things are very smooth. Then back, SK Newsline.
You are doing a good work. You're on a wall and you can't come down. That is the next version of it. You are doing a good job, and God will not take Team Unity down. To Him we give the glory for all we have accomplished for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I now invite you, in the interest of time.
My commitment to Constituency 7 is that I will build a complex facility in the Christchurch Bowyer area that will be outfitted with a abattoir, a market, and have where farmers can go and get feeds and baiticol and all the necessities, so that they don't have to journey to Bastille all the time. It's quick and easy access from there back to your farm, you know. And so I think that I
always wonder why that's never been done before.
Right, there is an agriculture sector output there in Tabernacle, but it's very small.
Yes.
You know, one farmer can go there and buy all the feeds. But we are saying, you know, we need this facility to ensure that the farmers have ease of access to the people, and people have ease of access to the farmers.
Yes, especially with our increased dependence on our own agricultural products.
Right. So we will bring food security to a minimal, concern in St. Kitts and Nevis. But we must partner. It can't be just Constituency 7 alone. Because of the nature of how the eastern side is built, myself and Dr. Joe has the commitment to ensure that our farmers on that side is properly taken care of.
Central Bastille, St. Christopher No. 2, is proving to be a crucial constituency in the June 5 elections. The incumbent is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Marcella Liburn, who has held that seat for the past 10 years. She is by no means a political neophyte, because even before she was involved in representational politics, she had early exposure from her family.
I'm not so sure I really wanted to get into politics in this way. I was always involved in politics because I came from a political family. I had a brother who was a minister of government before, as you know, Fitzroy Bryan. My mother was always very involved in labor women and so on. So I come from a political family. And so I was always involved in the politics, young labor and so on. I was a campaign manager at one point for Dwight Estefan when he ran as the candidate for Central Bastille. And being a Central Bastille person, I was always involved in that way, but never dreamt that I would be involved in the way I am. No, this happened just, you know, just like that.
Eventually, her active community involvement did not go unnoticed by party leader Dr. Denzel Douglas.
After Dwight Estefan was finishing, the process was that the branches would submit the names of persons who they think could be the candidates, you know, to replace him. My name happened to be one that was put up by the branch. I never gave much thought to it, even when my name was put up by the branch. And the way the process works, I think they carry out some poll in the constituency. And so when the polls were finished, I was called by Dr. Douglas to have the results of the poll read out to me, and found out that I was doing the best of the persons who were there. And so I was encouraged to go out as a result, and that's how I actually became involved at this level.
Ms. Lybert has served the constituency for 2 terms, and in her view, much was accomplished.
On a governmental level, we did massive paving of roads throughout Central Bastille, in the McKnight area, Navy Street, Dorset, Shadwell Housing, Pine Garden, quite a lot of paving of roads. Actually, we had a program that we were going to continue if we had won in 2015, but quite a bit of job was done in that regard. We were able to transform the community center up at Victoria Road into a place that could be used for dance. There was no place for people who were involved in dance to use, and so it was transformed, renovated and improved strictly for that purpose. We had an emphasis on our children who had no place to really play and to learn from each other, and so of course, you know, we have the New Road Family Park. We also improved Dorset Park so that we'd have an area there also for our children and parents, because with the benches and so on around, they can help in that regard.
Still, there's a lot more to be done.
Right now, as it stands in the constituency, of course, the main focus, as you know, because of the effects of the COVID, has to do with job situation and health. But jobs in particular, because right now hundreds of the constituents are not working, and in one home you could find 2 and 3 persons not working right now. So it's a very dire situation when it comes to income, and then so many people have been left outside of the so-called stimulus package of the government because they assigned it to Social Security, which is illegal. But when they go there, many of them are saying, oh, you don't qualify because you haven't paid Social Security, or for some other reason. I didn't know that's what the stimulus was about. I thought the stimulus was to provide income support to all who were affected by COVID and had absolutely nothing to do with Social Security. So for example, the preschool and nursery school private owners who I speak with regularly tell me how much they're suffering. Some of them are not sure if they'll be able to reopen those places. Even some other small businesses, which they call non-essential, who have to close down for such long periods of time. Many of these people are saying to me, we have to continue to pay our rent even though we're not getting a cent in.
Talk about Marcella Lybert as a member of parliament. I think you have to look at perhaps 2 of the most significant pieces of legislation that he had been able to champion or navigate through the parliament. And both of those are very important in the lives of the people, Sinkers and Neighbors. The first, I think, has to do with the domestic violence issue. And the second has to do with equal pay for equal work.
As the voters come out to vote in number 2, Ms. Lybert is expressing confidence that she will once again be the representative for Central Bastille.
to me, you have to be on the right side of history. And this is a party that has been there for the ordinary people of the country for over the 80 whatever years that it's been in existence. And so that is where my heart is, making sure you want to take care of everybody, but you have to pay attention to those who are most vulnerable and who can least take care of themselves. And I believe that is what government is for, to provide that kind of balance so that those persons who could least take care of themselves, you are there to help them to live a decent life.
He is one of the few young candidates contesting the elections, but he comes from political clout. This is the second time Jonell Powell, chairman of the People's Action Movement, PAM, will be contesting the St. Christopher No. 2 Central Bastille up against a political stalwart, Marcella Liburd. Even though he comes from a political family, Jonell was not keen on entering politics until after he returned to the country from university.
I've always been interested in politics, perhaps it's because of my family history. My uncle was the founder of the People's Action Movement. My twice great uncle was the founder of the Workers' League, which is the predecessor to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And so I've always been interested in politics. I've always been quite vocal. Having gone away and studied, worked abroad for a couple of years and came home, and having at all times kept up with the policies and the politics here in St. Kitts and Nevis. At that point, I did not agree with the policies of the then Labour administration. I thought that there was a lot of well-needed change in St. Kitts and Nevis in so many different facets of society. And I thought, after being very vocal and in different forms and forums, I thought, why be one of those persons who just stands on the side of the road and criticizes and just talks? Why not get up and do something about it? And so I made the decision to enter the field of elected politics.
He felt he was so close the last election in 2015, he should have won the seat, and he is confident he will do it this time around.
I'm very confident, and I believe that the people are confident of my victory, because it's not a victory for Jonell Powell, it's a victory for Central Bastille. This is our time now, and I have their backs and I know they have mine. And I think that come the 5th of June, the people of Central Bastille will overwhelmingly vote for further change in this country by electing me as the elected representative here in Central Bastille.
His political opponents have argued that he is not ready to contest parliamentary elections. Some even cited a legal matter he is involved with that is still in the court as a deterrent to his electability.
Jonell is not ready, he's not ready totally, and he personally, not that he's not able, but he's not ready.
I believe among the young people and even among the older persons, I think that his message is reaching the ears and hearts of persons. The question is, can he maintain the kind of support that he had in the last election and build upon that?
But Jonell believes he is the one suited to become MP for number 2. We will all know after June 5th.
I believe in what the People's Action Movement has said. I believe in the track record of the People's Action Movement and all the things that they've done for young people, for the working class, for women in the 1980s, and the role that the People's Action Movement has played in team unity over the past 5 years in terms of the social policies, the assistance in terms of roofing assistance to thousands of persons in St. Kitts and Nevis, the poverty alleviation program, $500 a month, job opportunities, the highest number of business licenses being issued to small businesses. This is the kind of policies that I believe in, and so that is why I am where I am today.
Okay, well, normally I would say it is a marginal seat. Not normally, it is a marginal seat. I think what confuses people is the fact that it is a large seat, over 4,000 voters. And the presumption is that in the context of a large seat, and a 98, the margin last time it was around 98, is that it looks to be it will be a constituency to watch because it will be a narrow one. Marcella Lightbird is deputy leader, presumably, of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party. She's the second most senior politician. She seemed to have been wearing the hat of leader of the opposition for that short time, even though she wasn't officially designated. So she does have some level of notoriety, one could argue, in the politics of St. Kitts and Nevis. While Powell, as chairman of the party, does carry a significant weight on the other side. So it's a constituency that I'm watching. Again, as I said, it's a marginal constituency. It's one that can change depending on the level of swing, and I think it will be very sensitive to that. But the significant thing in this one is that it was not as affected by number one regarding the overseas vote last time around. So I am not thinking that I don't think that the absence of the overseas vote in terms of number two would make that huge a difference this time around. I mean, it's an interesting perspective. The idea of the youth in politics, my sense is that it is one of the factors that the Labour Party is trading on. So the Labour Party in other areas, not necessarily in number two, is trading on the idea of youth and youthful enthusiasm. So Ambassador Condor, or former Ambassador Condor's comments in that regard are interesting. Generally speaking, another candidate, a candidate who is entrenched, especially a candidate who is the incumbent and has the incumbent for 2 terms, has a better chance of holding on to a seat. Because normally, yes, you have the change factor, but if you're holding a seat in an environment like this, as a seasoned politician, the presumption is that you should be able to continue to maintain it. Having said that, however, I would say that the whole idea of change, a change away from Labour, change away from older politicians to younger politicians, that was essentially what the team unity was selling on the last occasion.
We are over in the heart of the constituency number 7, incumbent Dr. Timothy Harris, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we're here at one of the polling stations just off the main road, Edgar Morris Primary School. And we've seen that the agents in the 2 major political parties on the island have indicated to us that the election process over here at this polling station had gone very well, and that they expect to see more persons turning up later this afternoon, especially after 4. So it seems to me that from what I understand, that things are fairly well organized over at this polling station, and we expect that late in the day we shall have a count of approximately, I think, a little over 400 and something voters in this area. Glenn Barrett, Newsline. If they're able to successfully sell that on this occasion, Jonelle Powell is exactly the kind of person that they would want to see running. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with Ambassador Condor's point, because certainly he does make a point that Powell is a lot more youthful. At the same time, he's been around politics for a while, and as I said, this is a campaign in which Team Unity sold youth and sold inexperience, one could argue, and sold youthful enthusiasm in the last election campaign successfully. If they are trying to do the same thing again,
I would like to think it would be an asset, not necessarily a liability.
Watch SK Newsline for Election Day coverage. Starting at 6:30 a.m., SK Newsline will provide 24-hour Election Day coverage on our website, www.sknewsline.com, or Android mobile app and our Facebook page. We'll present you features, profiles, and analysis on all 11 constituencies in St. Kitts and Nevis. Under the spotlight. The incumbent is Premier Mark Brantley, who has held that seat for over 10 years. An attorney by profession, Brantley is considered a very good orator.
Mark Brantley is well spoken, which is a given in the politics. He has money at his disposal, and the people like that. He's a charming man.
I have been helped by many people. I was born into poverty. I grew up in poverty. And I'm where I am because of so many who took an interest in me and decided to assist me. It was therefore my passion to help other people. And we can help in different ways. I chose politics as a path where we can frame policy, we can create and put into action ideas that are beneficial to our people. And so that was what I sought to do.
That may have been the reason why, according to him, he was courted by the two political parties on Nevis.
Why the Concerned Citizens Movement? Because I felt then, and I continue to feel now, that it is the best political party on offer on the island of Nevis. And whilst I was invited to join the NRP, I declined in preference for the CCM.
This election will be different, however. This is the first parliamentary elections with Brantley as the head of the Concerned Citizens Movement, the CCM, after long-serving MP and leader of the CCM, Vance Amory, stepped down from the leadership position, handing the mantle over to Mr. Brantley in 2017.
I think the CCM under Vance Amory had stellar leadership over the years, and I'm privileged now to sit in that chair as leader and to continue that tradition that he has had of leadership that you can trust, leadership that is committed to our people, leadership that puts our people first, leadership that says and acts accordingly that our people matter most.
Mr. Brantley's opponent is Dr. Kelvin Daly of the Nevis Reformation Party, who is a first-time candidate and a fierce critic.
The Premier has no use for them. The Premier does not like poor people like you and me. He likes to drink fine wine with his rich friends. How many people from St. John's have ever gone to his house?
Mr. Brantley has been heavily criticized over the years and in recent times, not only for his politics, but even how he dresses.
I've developed, I think, a very thick skin, and one needs to have that in politics. And I've developed a mantra that I have made my own personal mantra: ignore the noise. I find that a lot of people who attack you don't necessarily hate you, they would like to be you. And I think that we have to be always careful.